Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Let's continue. We're going back. We're returning to Master Shenhua's Chanchi instructions.
他又没有什么欲念，很少对欲念，因为。
He didn't have much desire, very little desire, because he was born with this very pure self-nature.
他所学习是专门学习这个论，又学习这个律，又学习这个禅。
What he studied was, he specifically studied Dharma, he studied Vinaya, and he also studied Chan, investigating Chan.
Okay, so this monk here was born, and he naturally was very pure of nature, very little desire, sensual desires, and so forth. That tells you that in a prior life he was a monk as well. Most likely he was a monk. So the habit energy carries on, and that's why he's that way. And he studied the Shastras, Abhidharma, Lun Abhidharma, I guess. It's the Shastras, studies of wisdoms in Buddhism, studied Vinaya. So it's interesting, he studied all the wisdom studies, and he also investigated Chan as well. So his interest was very sound, has good foundation, which is a rare thing to have nowadays for us.
他对这个经律论三藏，他都通达无碍，都明白。
He had unobstructedly penetrated and understood the Tripitaka of Sutra, Vinaya, and Shastra.
Usually, when you talk about penetration of Tripitaka, you're talking about a very, very special individual. For example, Master Shenhua is known to be a Tripitaka master, meaning he understands both the Vinaya, the Shastras, the three baskets, and the sutras. And after that, his disciples, I don't know any of his disciples who have that kind of name where they can be considered to be a Tripitaka master as well, because Master Shenhua didn't really teach them the Vinaya at all. I myself studied Vinaya a little bit, didn't really study the Shastras at all. But you see, it takes a lot of work to understand the three baskets, the Tripitaka. On the other hand, for example, Master Huineng, who's a sixth patriarch, who's really didn't study at all. He only learned the Vasha Sutra from the fifth patriarch. And as people came and asked him questions, he learned more about the actual marks of the Tripitaka, okay, the marks. In terms of Tripitaka, you have two levels. One is a mark level, meaning you understand the descriptions, you're aware of the descriptions, and the other is you understand the substance. You understand? You see, when the Buddha explained, talked about the Vinaya, for example, he described the rules of morality and the regulations and so forth. And those are just the rules, but those are called marks because they actually, behind it, there's a deeper meaning where there is the substance of all those rules or regulations are what the Tripitaka masters are supposed to understand. Okay, so even though Master YongHua didn't really study extensively the Tripitaka because he never really had the chance, the time. He's busy since his very young age, trying to help others and save others and so forth. And so, but he's a Tripitaka master because he understands the substance. And like the sixth patriarch, as soon as he hears about it, he may have not known the marks already, the description beforehand, but as soon as he hears, he understands the substance. He connects with the substance immediately. Okay, so in Buddhism, there are two levels of wisdom. The wisdom is a literary wisdom where you understand the marks, you learn about the marks, the words that are used to describe the Dharma itself. And then you have to understand the substance behind it. And that's what these Tripitaka masters are supposed to do. So for him, with the old times, the monks and nuns used to do this. They used to study the marks. They hit the books to study the Tripitaka themselves. It's a rare thing to do nowadays. Nowadays, because our lack of blessings and our inferior blessings, we don't do that anymore. We can at best specialize. Say Chan masters or Sutra masters or Dharma masters or Shastra masters and so forth. Vinaya masters, but very rare to find a Tripitaka master. Continue.
可是啊，他最后最注重就是禅宗，专门研究坐禅。
But his ultimate focus was Chan school. He specialized in investigating Chan meditation.
Okay, so again, the point here is that in the teaching or transmission of Buddhist knowledge, Buddhist wisdom, for us, the most effective way to train our people is the Chan techniques. So that's why most of these patriarchs, doesn't matter what their specialties are, like Master YongHua, even though his specialty was mantras and tantras, but by the time that he perfected his practice of the mantras, the secret school practice, he understood Chan as well. So, and then later he used Chan as a primary means to train his students. Okay, and possibly it's a common trait for all these patriarchs. They all prefer to use the Chan schools as a main form of training for their disciples.
Now现在是打七、坐七，行七，这行行坐坐，他那真是坐七。
Now we hold qis, sitting qi and walking qi. We walk and sit. His was true sitting qi.
You see, he says, for even the Chan training, we're very flexible. In our era, our Dharma ending age, we prefer to do the sitting and walking qis because it's more manageable for us. Whereas when this Dharma master, and during his time, he's basically sat around. He was sitting in meditation instead of didn't even bother doing walking meditation. And it's funny that in the prior half, the first half of the Chanchi here, and there's a man here who attended Master Xu Yun's temples in China regularly, every year, apparently. And they actually forced them to do this sitting and walking meditation. If you during when it's time and you're supposed to stand up and walk, and you didn't, they will hit you. Okay, and so it's interesting that you see each teacher, each temple has their own styles. So that kind of tells you the level of the Qi training techniques they have. For us, we prefer to do long sits, okay, because it works out to be the best. It seems to be the most helpful for most of you, more of you. So, but see, it's like here, he said, he wouldn't even bother walking. So if you can handle it, sure, you can do that.
He 坐的时候就7天，7天不起于坐。
Once he sat, it would be 7 days. He won't stand up for 7 days.
你像俺们坐了有1个钟头，觉得很辛苦了。他一坐7天，你想一想，这比俺们的1个钟头怎么样？
We sit for an hour and felt it was very hard. Once he sat for 7 days. Think about it. How does that compare to our 1 hour?
He 不仅仅就坐7天，在这个7天或者14天或者21天或者49天，他
Not only did he sat for 7 days, during these 7 days or 14 days or 21 days or 49 days.
做这个这么久的时间，他用这个三昧的正受到其他的国家去教化众生。
Once he sat, he would sit that long. He would use his proper reception samadhi to teach and transform living beings in other countries.
So he would sit for a long, long time, and he would enter samadhi, and he would enter samadhi in order to use his spiritual penetrations to go to other places to teach living beings.
他在这本来入定，但是他就到其他的国家去教化众生。
Originally, he was here entering samadhi, but he would go to other countries to teach and transform living beings.
有很多的为了在梦寐之间见到他，去给他说法。
Many people would see him speaking the Dharma in their dreams.
为了就这么样子，也有的人常常见这么一个法师来对他说法。
Or just like that, some people often see a Dharma master come to speak Dharma for them.
说几句法就没有了。
He would speak a few sentences of Dharma and disappear.
So nowadays with technology, now we can go anywhere in the world to through the internet to speak the Dharma. Huh? And thanks to our Dharma glimpse technology, we can do exactly the same thing. Speak a few sentences, and then we're done with it. Because the Dharma is dispersed with bite-sized morsels, very small. Okay, the Dharma is not meant to be a paper, meant to be long and complicated. The Dharma is usually from the people who have wisdom, with you is conveyed within a few sentences. That's it. Keep that in mind. Okay, meaning that depending on your level, okay, most of you will have to receive the Dharma in simple words. And sometimes we have to use some Buddhist jargon and so forth, but actually the Dharma, for it to be given, dispersed, transmitted in a few sentences, has to be fairly simple. And that's Master Hsuanhua's style, by the way. He's the only monk who can do it that way, that I know of. No one else.
那么在这个三昧中啊，不起于坐，他就到各处去教化众生。
So in this samadhi, without leaving his seat, he went around to teach and transform living beings.
你想一想，这位法师这种定力怎么样？和我们现在的人比较起来，那真是不能比。
What do you think about this Dharma master's samadhi power? Compared to us now, there is no comparison.
It's not true, because I heard from Master Hsuanhua disciples, when Master Hsuanhua was speaking Dharma himself, he was in, we're not talking about during Chantis, we're talking about Dharma talks, Dharma lectures, sutra lectures. So he would speak in Chinese, and then he would wait for the English translation. And his disciples who were sitting there waiting for their turns or translating, they actually saw him sort of go to different mode and go do something else and come back. That's our teacher, this very monk here. Okay, he would not wait until there's a chanchi. He does it every single night. Every single time he spoke the Dharma, we'd go somewhere else and do some work as well during translation. It's just, the standards are incredible, what he set as an example for us. Go on.
我们现在过了1个钟头，就这么样子。
It's sort of like after sitting for hours.
这么样。你说这还有什么出息？这有什么意思？
Now we only sit for an hour, then like this, what hope do we have? What's that for?
Can you imagine how difficult it was for him to speak the Dharma, and then while they're translating, he would go do something else occasionally and come back in time for the end of translation and continue? That's incredible wisdom. He's probably somewhere else, in the heaven or somewhere else, working, and then whoop, come back and continue the lecture. It's so cool. You hear things like this because I want you to, in the future, say, hey, I want to do that too. It'd be so cool. Continue.
要是和这位实诚禅师一比较他们真应该生大忏他们就应该甚至于惭愧应该是
If comparing to this Chan master Shi Cheng, we really should feel ashamed. We should be ashamed to death.
Just a technical question. Is there a way for us to filter out all this noise from the recording? Is there a technology available? I think there should be. 9.
Yeah, it is possible, and I cannot talk to Peter, and then we can work together.
Yeah, it's such a treasure to have this kind of teaching. I hope in the future you too will, if you have the chance, listen to it again yourself and make your own commentaries and so forth. And so it's a real treasure. We will not find a patriarch of this caliber for a long, long, long time. Okay, he's extraordinary as a man. Continue.
我们这一位法师，他在印度各国提倡禅宗的道理。
This Dharma master advocated the principles of Chan school in various Indian countries.
听说中国这个大乘佛法也非常盛行，于是乎他就也是不远万里来到中国，到南京。
He heard that in China, Mahayana Buddhism was very prosperous, so he came to China despite the long distance, arrived in Nanjing.
当时宋文帝对这位法师非常信仰，非常的恭敬。
At that time, Emperor Wen of Song was very faithful and very respectful towards this Dharma master.
And this is what I'm so disappointed with the people nowadays. Back then, when there's so little it's the leaders, political leaders, who are so devout, who recognize the value of Mahayana for their cultures, for their countries. And they set this beautiful tradition, Buddhist tradition, in the country. And nowadays, in our Dharma ending age, the politicians now are gravitating and kowtowing to the Christianity, which is not a bad thing. But compared to Buddhism, I feel that the depth is not worth even mentioning. And that's understandable, because in our system, the politician must kowtow to, must bow to the money, special interests. It's understandable, okay? However, what's disappointing to me is that I happen to know there are a lot of bodhisattvas who have very successful businesses. Okay? And I'm really disappointed that they fail to understand the importance of what, fail to fulfill the roles of the Chinese emperors back then. The Chinese culture was so powerful or so profound because these emperors, as such, Emperor Wen of the Song dynasty here is the one who actually promoted Buddhism and helped make it integrate into the culture, Chinese culture. That's why the Chinese culture is so profound. You see, no comparison in terms of Asian cultures. The Chinese culture is by far the most advanced because of people like this. And for our times, for Buddhism to prosper in the U.S., we cannot depend on politicians because they're afraid of the Catholic powers and Christian powers and Jewish powers and so forth. That's understandable. There's special interests. They should promote their own. It's okay. But there are plenty of Buddhist faithful, plenty of especially people of wisdom who have the financial resources. What do? They do charity work, primarily. And they're all afraid to wade into religious things. It's the money. What's there to be afraid of? They're going to die anyway, and the kids are going to waste it anyway. It is a one-generation kind of thing. Like the Warren Buffett is a one generation. His children are nowhere near his quality. You're talking about night and day. Okay? So if he fails to do it, his fortune will goes down the drain towards insignificant things. So to me, it seems to be such a waste of time, of resources. They're all afraid. They say, I invest in all the companies, I don't want to be controversial, and so forth. I'm no Elon Musk. Oh yeah, none of you understand what I'm talking about. Elon is a real jerk. He's a drug addict. His behavior is erratic because he's the drug thing. He's overworked, so he uses drugs. And the drugs takes over. That's why he's totally erratic nowadays. Okay, and that's what he does to sustain his, to increase his stamina using drugs. Okay, instead of meditation. Can you expect a man like that to do great things for humanity? Of course not. Screwed up here. Okay? So I'm really disappointed of many, many arhats and bodhisattva levels who are in the world right now, and they don't have the wisdom of these emperors. It's a shame, really, because this is what American Mahayana needs right now is for this to take off, for the support, so that it becomes legitimate instead of something people always have this question mark: is this for real? Because they cannot tell. The internet is flooded with all sorts of junk. Okay, 95% is junk. Okay. And therefore, an endorsement from some sort of person with wisdom or with some kind of success would go a long way towards bringing it to the mainstream. Yes, Naim?
One comment and also one question from the internet. And first, it's a comment from Diego Alfonso. I saw Master once in my dreams, giving me instruction. I took it very auspicious and saved the teaching in my heart. Emitofuo. And then there's a question from San Francisco, Daniel. Master, how did Master YongHua's disciples know he will go out and travel? Would his eyes roll or something like that?
Yeah, he sort of left, his spirits left his body, so it's kind of frozen. Of course, you can tell because he's no longer lively, if you will. Okay, like his soul left already. But then the fascinating is came back in a very timely fashion. He never, missed anything. It's amazing the kind of samadhi he has, to be able to know, to go and come back like that. But don't you think it's a shame? And I hope that you, in the future, you tell your children and you tell, the future generation, the reason that the Chinese culture used to be so strong and dominant in all of Asia is because of the strength of Mahayana. If you want to compete in a global stage, that's Mahayana. You need Mahayana. You don't need spies. You don't need weapons as a primary form of defense or strength. It's wisdom that you need. And the American system is such a beautiful system, such an open system, that's why the roots of superiority is right here. Okay, in our culture, we embrace the best of everything. Best from the Chinese, from the Vietnamese, from the Japanese, from the Koreans, from, everyone. The structure is there. Now all we need is visionaries like this Emperor Wen of the Song dynasty. Things like that happened back then. And so, of course, we don't have emperors anymore. And now the emperors are into wars, into stealing and invasions and so forth, thinking is their life's mission. And this is what they should be doing, our politicians, our visionaries. When are we going to teach our children this? These emperors, they used to make donations to all the temples, all the monks. They heard of this big monk coming, okay, come, I'd like to make offerings to you, and I'd like to build a temple for you. They make offerings to everyone. And all I have to do is they make one hit, one super lotto, that's it. You see? And this is what the Americans, philanthropists, should be doing as well. They should not be afraid. They should cross cultural barriers. They should cross religious barriers and promote everyone. And that's one of the biggest endowments or inheritance you can leave for your children and the future generation, instead of leaving money. Because these people, they're very smart already. Therefore, their children are going to be successful themselves. The genes are there. All they need, the children need now, is more blessings and more wisdom. Continue. It's disappointing to me how the bodhisattvas in our world right now are so short-sighted. It's so disappointing to me.
So he was invited to stay in Daolin Jingshe. At that time, even Chan Master Baozhi, who ate 2 pigeons daily that I told you about before, was very respectful toward this Chan Master Shi Cheng and followed him to learn Chan Dharma.
See? See what happens? The emperor welcomed this Indian monk, gave him a place to stay, okay? And guess what? All the other good cultivators would come and learn from him. That's the advantage. You have to make offerings to these superior monks. Continue.
Think about this. Chan Master Baozhi had such great spiritual penetration, yet still followed this Chan Master to study and practice. So we can imagine this Chan Master was a great good knowing advisor, because to cultivate, one must draw near good knowing advisors.
Exactly. This is what Mahayana is about. I want you in the future, when you teach Chan, you teach American Mahayana, this is what we do. We say, find a good knowing advisor and follow that good knowing advisor. Okay, make offering to the good knowing advisor and draw near the good knowing advisor. And don't quit. That's the way to practice Mahayana. That's the only way to practice Mahayana. I'm going to be blunt with you nowadays. Okay? It's no better way to practice Mahayana than that. So, in other words, If you come to a place and you learn from this monk or nun, and eventually the word don't come out about good no advisors and make offering good no advisors and don't quit and don't leave and so forth, okay, then you can move on. Or worse yet, if your teacher says, you dare leave me, you cannot come back. Okay? If your teacher is afraid that you leave the temple and they lose their financial support to the temple, then the temple is more important than you, then maybe you should leave as well. You see, someone has to say that, okay? Because that's how you practice Mahayana. Is it clear? All monks and nuns, all of you, are authorized to move to another temple and go study and find, the Dharma you're practicing. Okay, you're free to look for the Dharma, look for a teacher. No one will force you to stay here. Okay, for example, you come to me and say, I heard there's this great monk over there, and up north, something like that. And can I try? I say, absolutely, go try. Actually, I used to send people. Okay? Yeah. Yes, too. You never find us, you never find me afraid that you will find a good teacher. Because I'm looking for a good teacher myself. I've told you already, if I find a good teacher, I will leave you. Because I'm practicing first. Yes, too.
Mô Phật và Thầy, giống như thế giới này đó, mình thấy những người thầy cô rồi đã thuyết pháp lan tràn, mình mở cái tivi lên đó thì tất cả mình nghe những cái pháp mà người ta pháp lan tràn hết trơn, là có lợi ích gì cho chúng sanh không Thầy?
Emitofuo, Master, right now in this world, there were a lot of monks and nuns speak Dharma all over the place. Even when we turn on the TV, we can hear all the Dharma just turn on like that. Is there any benefit to listen to those? Emitofuo.
I will give you an analogy that is more. Are there children there in San Jose? Oh, there are children there, so I better not use booze. I will use tea as an example. Okay? Just like when you drink tea. Here in the U.S., when you drink tea, I go to Dharma Treasury Temple, I drink tea. Okay? Up north, our branch temple, allow me to advertise our Northern California temple a little bit. Is that okay? Forgive me. I go to Dharma Treasury Temple to drink tea. I would have a hot water, and then I dump in the tea bags. Okay, and that's the tea I'm drinking. Okay, all right. If I go to San Jose, then I have my own little tea room, so a tea station. So now I can brew my own hot water and brew my own tea. So I use slightly better tea. Okay, so my point here is that tea users have different types, should be able to use different types of teas, depending on their needs. Okay? When I go to San Francisco, I don't have time, so I dump some tea bags. It's very fast. Okay? Whereas when you have more time, and then you spend more time using more elaborate processes to make tea and better quality tea. Because my point being that, just like everything else, they have different products for different types of needs. To me, all Buddhist teachings are very useful. That's why I advocate if these rich people, these visionaries in our world, our times right now, if really have the vision, they want to leave something, want to leave a mark for the future, they want to leave a legacy for themselves, or they want to really benefit their family, their children, okay, their countries, they should be sponsoring Buddhists, all Buddhist things, okay? Hinayana and Mahayana. That's what they should be doing. So to me, all the temples are useful because they are serving different people's needs. Yes, when people are weak, they're going to follow the monks and nuns who will terrorize them because that's all they have. They don't have enough blessings to be able to go to a better temple, a better teacher. So to me, all of Buddhism is very useful. Okay? So there's no need to say, I only do Mahayana. Mahayana also, American Mahayana, also includes, to me, also includes Sri Lankan Hinayana. It includes Theravada, whatever, okay? Myanmar Theravada, whatever. It includes Thai Buddhism. That's why I send our monk to Thailand to kind of open eyes a little bit about American Buddhism. Okay, so you see, we are part of the big picture called Buddhism, because Buddhism is supposed to serve all kinds of people at various degrees of needs in their journey to Buddhahood. Not everyone can be doing like you. How many people have enough blessings to be able to bring even their own kids every night to come to the temple and just listen for an hour and a half? How many people think about it? Not too many. But that's what we do. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to all be contributing to that big, the big canvas of world Buddhism. So all Buddhist things, all those things, all the Hinayana teaching, Theravada teaching, Vietnamese teaching, Korean teaching are building towards it. We're not at odds with them. We're part of the big picture, this canvas of Buddhist teachings. I think Master YongHua feels exactly the same way. Okay? He says, everyone else is serving their own congregation. He would serve the, different types of people who are not being served. So are we. Okay? I came from Hinayana. I came to Mahayana, but I didn't understand Mahayana. His Master YongHua disciples could not explain Mahayana to me, so I switched to Hinayana. I studied Hinayana on my own. I read up on a lot of Hinayana suttas. And then after a year of reading that, I said, too shallow. So I graduated. You see, it's there for everyone. So it's very useful. So don't think that I don't misunderstand me when I say this translation is no good, only for you. But for me, I started with the bad translation in English, okay? Because it helped. So that's why I hope that more philanthropists, more visionaries would support more Buddhists, would have more Buddhist projects, build more Buddhist temples, sponsor more translations. Yes, 9.
Thank you, Master. Just actually a follow-up of Auntie Guo Ying's question. So she said there are all kinds of Sangha speaking Dharma everywhere. So my question was, do we have the Dharma selecting eye for us at such low level?
Good point. It's not really a Dharma selecting eye alone for me. It is blessings. The way it works is that you need to plant blessings at the proper place. That's how you are able to harvest. You don't plant blessings, you cannot harvest. You understand? You plant blessings in a different field of blessings, you have to go there. Just like you put the money in that bank. The money you withdraw has to come from that bank eventually. Yes? Okay? So that's how it works. You have to plant blessings. And what happened is that you can't always plant at the proper place. That's why you keep on planting and planting. As you have more blessing, you plant to a better place. Okay? And a better field, and a better field, and better field. That's how it works. That's why I'm very much against prohibiting Buddhist disciples from temple hopping. I'm very dead set against it. They should hop as many temples as they like so that they can plant blessings. You know, it's perfectly okay. And eventually, when they mature, that's when they are able to receive the teachings. That's how it works in Buddhism. Unless I owe you, you will not believe me. I can't teach you unless I owe you. Because you guys are cheapskates. Yeah, you say, I better collect from him before he skips town. That's how it is. We need to create affinities with you, meaning we need to take offerings from you. That's how you will make progress. That's how you will improve. As far as I'm concerned, my interest is for you to improve. And for you to improve, I need to owe you. And that's contrary to the worldly approach, where worldly is you hoard, right? You grab while you still can. For us, I'm teaching you is that give. If you don't need it, give. Give more and more and more and more. To Buddhism. And if you have better blessings, you probably give to better places, naturally. But don't neglect the small places. They need it too. Because I came from Hinayana myself before I graduated to Mahayana. So I'm grateful to those people who studied the Hinayana thing and found it good enough to translate into English, the best of their abilities and so forth. Because without it, I would have left already. I said, this Mahayana thing here doesn't make sense for me at all. I had to study Hinayana to realize that it's very, very limited. Go Forest.
Hello, Master. Just a comment. Thank you for stuff down all the bread, cheese, pizza, bagel, fur, whatnot.
Oh yeah, and just so you know, when you come back, there's gonna be a 6祖坛经 book arriving.
What? Sorry, I don't understand what he's saying about 六祖坛经. But yeah, thanks for doing all that, and so that we can have a chance to plant blessings with you, Master.
I am gonna give it to her.
You know, to me, like a person I used to admire, Warren Buffett. He's a superior being. His late wife is also a superior. She's also a bodhisattva. Okay? But the children they make, I mean, it's not the same level, but they are far superior to most other people. The genes are there. And they're so confused. They're doing things that are so confusing. It shows state of confusion. It's so disappointing. Yes, 9.
My question is, how do Mr. and Mrs. Warren Buffett, they became bodhisattvas? Do they obviously are not cultivating like us.
Well, they're different. They're a different breed. Bodhisattvas do the bodhisattva things. You are not a bodhisattva. That's why I have to train you to become a bodhisattva. Then you can do whatever you want to do. You understand? You cannot compare yourselves with them. They are bodhisattvas. They do the bodhisattva stuff. They're different rules. They're different channels, not like you. Okay? But in order for you to be like them, you need to be trained first. You cannot compare yourselves to them at all. They don't follow the same rules as you. That's why my expectations of them are quite different from you. I'm not as critical of you. I'm a lot more forgiving with you than with him. Yes, 9.
Master, if someone like you're describing these people who are bodhisattvas, they're not Buddhist, from what I can tell, do they know that they have this special ability or some special understanding that other people don't have?
I don't know. All I know is that I know they're special people, okay, and they're doing the wrong things. Therefore, I cannot control my mouth. Open my big mouth and say, hey, you can do better. Because you're missing on a great opportunity to leave your legacy and make a huge impact in the world.
What a curious thing that...
Stop doing stupid things, making money by investing in horrible products.
You know, what a curious thing for someone of that caliber to not use the spiritual ability that they have. I mean, it's curious.
Yeah, I'm sure they have their good reasons for it. I'm trying to point out there's a better way to do it. We can all improve. That's my job. My job is to look at you and say, you can be better. Why aren't you? What are you waiting for? Huh? Waiting to die? That's it? Be better. One more breath you have, become a better person. Because it's fun. You feel good about yourself. And we need more visionaries who's not afraid to do that. Not afraid, I am going to do the Buddhist thing here. And plant the seeds for everyone. That's what the emperors used to do. The example has been set already. Probably some of these emperors are bodhisattvas themselves. Continue.
不是像美国有一些个自造的祖师，自己封自己，这是个祖师。
It is not like some self-proclaimed patriarchs in the US who conferred themselves as patriarchs.
从当时啊，这些个修道的一定要亲近大善知识，因为
At that time, all cultivators of the way must draw near great good knowing advisors.
没有大善知识啊，你自己用功很容易就走错路了。
If you don't have a good knowing advisor and cultivate on your own, it would be very easy to walk on the wrong path.
所以，各位保智禅师也亲近这位强梁耶禅师。
So this Chan master Baoju drew near Chan master Galam Yasas.
当时又有一个法师叫僧涵，就请他翻译这个《药王药上观》，就翻译这个《无量寿观》。
At that time, Dharma master Sung Han asked him to translate Sutra of Contemplation of Medicine King and Medicine Superior Bodhisattvas and also Sutra of Contemplation of Infinite Life.
这个强梁耶舍禅师，因为知道这个药王药上观是能转变这个人的业障，这种秘密的法术。
Because Chan master Galam Yasas knew Sutra of Contemplation of Medicine King and Medicine Superior Bodhisattvas is a secret Dharma that can transform people's karmic obstruction.
你就念这个药王药师灌顶真言，再修这个药王药上观。
You can just recite the Medicine Master mantra and practice the contemplation of Medicine King and Medicine Superior.
就能把业障消除了。
Then you can eradicate the karmic obstructions.
这《无量寿观》呢，《无量寿观经》呢，就是修净土的最大的一种帮助。
This contemplation of infinite life, Sutra of Contemplation of Infinite Life, is the biggest help in cultivation of the Pure Land Dharma.
所以呀，他就很特别注意的翻译这几部经。
So he paid special attention in translating these sutras.
翻译完了之后，这位法师从南京就到了四川。
After completing the translation, this Dharma master went to Sichuan from Nanjing.
从四川以后，又回来到这个建业，也就是南京。
After Sichuan, he went back to Jingling, which was Nanjing. Nanjing was called Jingling in ancient times.
他就也是没有什么病，就圆寂了。圆寂的时候，他年纪60岁，60岁。
Then, without any illness, he passed away. When he passed away, he was 60 years old. 60 years old.
他翻译了很多经典，在中国佛教史上很有贡献。
He translated many sutras and made a great contribution to the history of Buddhism in China.
Any questions about this this monk here? So he, for this monk here, he chose to, his main work was to do the translation of the sutras. Back then, they didn't have materials to study, so the translation had to be done first. Yes, 7.
야광 약상관에 대해서 설명 부탁드립니다. 번역했다는 그 앞전에 야광 약상관.
Master, would you explain more about Sutra of Contemplation of Medicine King and Medicine Superior Bodhisattvas?
I was waiting for someone to ask me. It's not necessary. Okay, we have plenty of dharmas that are better than this particular this contemplation sutra from Medicine Master Buddha. Okay, much better, much more suitable for our times. These are probably good for the people back then. For them, it's good for them. That's why the sutras were transmitted to China and they were translated for a reason, because they were meant to benefit those disciples back then. Okay. They have condition of those sutras, meaning in the past, the disciples at those times were making offerings, have these types of blessings with Medicine Master Buddha Dharma, and therefore those Dharma were more effective for them. for our times, Master YongHua decided that he has a vision, the wisdom. He decided Wan Yin is a better Dharma door for us, which can accomplish the same things, and probably better than Medicine Master, that particular sutra itself. How do I know? I can't speak for Master YongHua, but my guess is because he only transmitted us these sutras, these Wan Yin Dharma doors and Shrangama Dharma doors and so forth, because they're ideal, best suited for us. Okay, and for example, for our times, in order for us not only to cultivate, but also do work, we need mantras. So he focused more on mantras. Okay, transmitted a lot of mantras to my generation. And it's very handy for us. A lot of my work involves reciting mantras. Okay, and mantras can also resolve the karmic obstructions that from that sutra as well. Probably better for us in resolving karmic obstructions than that particular sutra. So I don't think I want to explain it. Nothing. I don't have that kind of time. Okay? It's confusing. Okay. Yes, 9.
There's a question from YouTube. Now 1596 asks, how can we tell whether a temple is Mahayana?
They're usually very proud. The Buddhist monks and nuns are very proud, especially Hinayana or Theravada practitioner. They're very proud. For example, you go to a Thai temple, you know they're Hinayana. You go to a non-Thai temple, they call themselves Theravada. They would not be caught dead, call themselves Mahayana. Okay, because Mahayana is like evil to them. Okay, so in Buddhism, there's a clear labeling from a Hinayana perspective, Theravada perspective. So it's very easy for you to distinguish them. They would never call themselves Mahayana. Actually, they spit upon Mahayana practitioners, quite a few of them. Okay, and then there are some Mahayana temples who actually are Hinayana temples. Okay, they call themselves Mahayana because they realize that, for example, many Chinese temples are actually Hinayana temples. Many Vietnamese temples call themselves Mahayana. Many Vietnamese teachers call themselves Mahayana teacher because in our culture, Mahayana is more highly regarded than Hinayana. Okay, and therefore the monks and nuns would like to be associated with winners instead of lesser sects, and therefore they call themselves Mahayana. Okay, so there are such temples, and then but they are not Mahayanas because within Mahayana there's Hinayana level and Mahayana level. That's why I call Hinayana Mahayana versus Mahayana Mahayana. Okay, and so. For me to call even like Master YongHua disciple is Hinayana Mahayana because they really have wisdom first already, so it's worthwhile to study. Okay, but there are most temples who call themselves Mahayana. Okay, actually like Hinayana. They only are especially the Taiwanese temples. They are Hinayana temples because they don't have the Mahayana wisdom anymore. Okay? And so that's what happens. That's what happens, unfortunately, when so very difficult for people to tell whether it's Hinayana, Mahayana. Okay? So that's the first part of the answer. Second part of the answer is that you better off looking at the lineage of the patriarchs. Okay? The last known patriarch is Master YongHua. That's Mahayana. And therefore, you study his teachings, then it's true Mahayana teachings. Not just true Mahayana teachings, but also very advanced Mahayana teachings. You can't go wrong. Okay? And therefore, you should go there. You should go to, the material, that's why I'm advocating, hey, if after we clean up these files, the audio files here, make it available, throw it out there for people to use, okay? It's for everyone, because this is the Mahayana teachings of the great patriarch. They should be made available for everyone, to everyone. Okay, and that's why you should go. You should go to the patriarch's teachings in Mahayana. That's what you do. Okay. What else am I missing? Yes, in the back. I don't have number 2.
Mô Phật và Thầy. Con đó thì đi chùa rất là nhiều. Thầy hồi đó thì con cũng rất là mê muội. Đi chùa rất là nhiều mà thấy chùa đó Phật tử đông đồ này kia thì con ham lắm. Cho nên cái này là tu tốt lắm. Chùa đẹp đồ cao sang. Là con nghĩ trời cái này là tu chân chánh tu thiệt. Một lần làm để mấy ngàn người con cũng đi nữa. Đó con cũng có mặt ở chỗ đó nè. Rồi tự nhiên mà con có một cái phước báo đó, thì con đi với cái con nản quá chừng đó. Cái đi tới Vạn Phật Thành đó, cho thấy Vạn Phật Thành đó. Hồi đó đi tháng 11 á. Nó cây cỏ đồ nó khô đồ, thấy rất là mình không có ấn tượng được, mà tự nhiên mà con lên tới trển đó thì con thấy là giống một cái Tây Phương Cực Lạc vậy đó. Tự nhiên cái tâm của con nó có nghĩ một cái rất là khoái lạc cho con vậy đó. Mô Phật.
Emitofuo Master, I have been through a lot of temple. Back in the day, I'm very confused. I went to a lot of temple, wherever there's temple with a lot of disciples, with a Buddhist disciple, then I think that at that way place, there is true cultivators there. They properly cultivating. So there's one time there's ceremony with thousands of people. So naturally, I think that's where I go to. Somehow, naturally, with my blessings, I become very boring of them. And then I got a chance to go to City of 10,000 Buddha. Back in the day, it was November. So when I first came in, I saw that there was a lot of trees trying, and I feel sad. Somehow when I walked into the way place, I felt like it was Western Bliss Pure Land. There was a peace of mind and a bliss come fill up my entire body. Emitofuo.
Yes, was another comment here, 9.
Master, I was wondering about Tibetans. Are they Mahayana?
No, not in my opinion.
What are they?
Well, I'm willing to go as far as that, because I got in trouble this time already with a lot of people. I don't need to make more enemies. So finally, the third part of my answer is that I'm assuming this person said, how do I find a Mahayana temple? I will change it to, how do I find a Mahayana teacher? That's much more important than a Mahayana temple. And so it's always a tough question to answer. And finally, nowadays, I will give you a very simple one-liner. Okay? You want to find a good no advisor? Pray to Master YongHua. That's his job. Got that? Huh? Don't pay the one, you don't pay the Amitabha Buddha. You know why? Because Master YongHua is responsible for propagating Mahayana in our times. See? He will help you. Pray to him with sincerity, who will point you to somewhere where you can learn Mahayana. All right? That's all. Very simple. Don't have to say, this person must have kung fu, this person must be a good person, this person must be his disciples. No. The truth of the matter is that the Mahayana teachers, there are quite a few, okay? And they're teaching in unison. Meaning that just like the monk before this one here, the last monk Master YongHua talked about, he go and appear in someone's dream to teach him. Okay? And that person being taught is probably a disciple of someone else. See that? That's what happens for us. We don't have to worry about losing you as the disciples. You're being taught by a network of good knowing advisors. Does it make sense? So, and the person, the real person who's responsible for it, because the current one is not doing his job, is Master YongHua. That's all we know. So all we have to do is pray to him, bow to him, keep on praying and praying and praying and praying, and in time, you'll be guided to the proper place, the proper teacher. Until then, you plant blessings, Mahayana. That's all. Okay? And then you might ask me, where do I plant blessings? Pray to him again. That's his job. See how I get even with my master for abandoning me? Huh? I remember, I never forgive or forget. He abandoned me and made me suffer. Okay, any other questions or comments? Trust me, you will not. You have no idea how important this information is. That you have a source information called YongHua. Go there, go to that well, YongHua well, and pray to him. You need blessings, okay? You need a teacher, pray to him. He'll respond, trust me. Okay, because I heard from many people already, that he really cares. Go ahead, go Forrest.
Thank you, Supo. I just want to have a comment related to the Dharma Glen. I have my children, the teenage, listen to it, and he loved it. And then my daughter from college just got back last night, and she asked me, she said, Mom, can you please teach me how to do crochet? And I taught her how to crochet, but at the time we opened the Dharma Glen, we start listening around 10:30, and we kept listening until close to 3 a.m. and she still enjoy it. And it seemed like the Dharma Glim really hit a broad age from teenage, college kid, and even my husband, in his almost 50 years old. So.
Wow. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. You know, it's nice to have Mahayana blessings. If you don't have Mahayana blessings, it goes out one ear, it goes out the other. Nothing registers. You don't understand that magic. The magic because you need to have Mahayana blessings. Okay? So they have tremendous Mahayana blessings. But thank you for sharing it with us. Okay? And again, you don't take lightly the fact you have children there at the temple, just hanging around doing nothing, but they listen to the ears, to the Dharma right there. That's incredible blessings for them as well. So for your children, even to listen to the Dharma glimpses, and that plants incredible blessings as well, on top of the blessings they already have. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, anything else? I'm feeling lazy tonight. I'm not vigorous like Master YongHua. I'd rather let you go back and meditate and become enlightened. Huh? Anyone has any more questions? Really, folks, it's such a real pleasure for me to be able to spend time with you and studying Master YongHua's teachings, because I'm learning too from him. I never had the chance to study him in great details. I may have heard this once before, a long time ago. I probably missed about 80% of it. Couldn't hear, so I got about 5-10% of it a long time ago. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming every night and tuning in every night. It really forces me to study this. Okay, shall we quit a little bit early so that we can go have some nice tea? Unless you have any questions or anything you'd like to discuss. No? Okay, it's a pleasure. It's funny because there's so many of you now that and we have so much. I have so much more help now. It's such a pleasure to do this together. You have things like Dharma glimpses and inter-temple, and you're all contributing. We're all speaking Dharma together. It's so cool. This is so unique. Have you thought about it? Huh? How unique we have our Dharma events, like everyone speaks Dharma from your perspective, and we put it together. It's so cool. Yes, sir, in the back.
Also, Master, Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Kind of early, isn't it? Okay, yeah, it's always important that is important to do as well. We need to spend quality time with our family and the people we care. So this is a good time of the year to take time to do that. Don't forget to do that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. We stop here tonight.